Hi, Hive fans. Randy Ingersoll here with a Play Hive Like a Champion live stream video. The 2020 Hive World Championship Finals between Quodlibet and Jewdoka. Play Hive Like a Champion. And we've got with us this afternoon two fellow commentators, John Sandel. Hi, John.
Hey, Randy.
And Cody
Hey, everybody.
Kunka.
Hi.
So we're looking forward to a great match this afternoon. Right now, Jewdoka is ahead 2-0. He won two long, grueling games last Sunday. He and Quodlibet will be playing game 3.
And this remind us, Randy, that this is the third match, but they're playing. It's 2-0 point wise, and it's best to 3.5. Is that right?
It's a 6-game match, so the first one to 3.5 points wins.
Got it.
And the first game was won by Jewdoka, so was the second. So yes, it's 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
So it could possibly end today if they play 2 games and Jewdoka wins one and he either draws or wins the second. But knowing Quodlibet as well as I do, what a great player he is, I think Joe has his hands full this afternoon. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think Quad's going to come out swinging. I predict Quad will take the first game, even playing black. But Joe's very mentally strong right now, so I wouldn't count him out. But Quad's been down 2-0 in several games in the finals before and has come back.
Actually, I went back and looked a little bit the last two finals. It seems like the first couple of games, Quad is a little more experimental than. And so I wonder if that cost him, or if that's actually happening, or if that's just an accidental thing to try to throw Joe off. Or
well, I guess we'll find out. Because if you look at the records between these two, here at Board Space, which all of their games have been in some sort of a tournament or another, Jewdoka has a 14-11 point lead. But a lot of that is in the first time they met in the 2017 semifinals. Jewdoka won 4-1, and then with the two they played last week, so he's 6-1. But other than that, Quodlibet is ahead 11-8 in the others. Of course, this is the third year in a row they've met in the finals. Quodlibet has won the last two. 2018 he won 4.5 to 3.5, and 2019 he won 3.5 to 1.5. So going into the match, I'd say that Quodlibet was the favorite, but with a 2-point lead, we have to say that has switched over to Jewdoka. Wouldn't you guys agree with that?
I think Jewdoka has a little bit of an edge, and he's playing as white as well, I believe, which gives him a little bit of an advantage. But I have a hard time betting that Quad's going to go down 3-0. So I'm still sticking with Quad for a comeback here.
Yeah, I'd certainly think Joe is. I mean, more than Joe has the advantage, I would just say Joe's kind of even the playing field, right? It's because now Quad really can't afford to give up another game, so he's absolutely has to play his best in this next one as black to have any chance at all. And I think what I'm really curious to see, because Joe as white. Joe as a player tends to be more reactive and more. I think you're all talking about this. He tends to be a little bit, using that sort of judo mentality of letting the other person make mistakes. But as white, he kind of has to be more aggressive. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the first part of the game.
Well, there are ways where you can trade tempo as white to just get a subtle advantage, and I think Joe's been doing that increasingly. Like in the game we saw him start with the beetle.
Yeah.
I'm going to step away from the video for just a minute, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I will say that knowing Joe, I guess more over the last year or so, I helped him edit his book, for example. He seemed to be even more focused than I've seen him before. And part of that could just be from all the writing and editing, but I think he's really hungry for a win after losing 2 in a row.
Yeah, I would agree. I got to hang out with him a little bit and Randy when they were in Minneapolis for our little event, and I was blown away with, kind of how hard he was working on everything. It was just kind of amazing to watch him. So, yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what happens here. This is this is the peak right here, right? We're the two best players in the world. Everything's on the line. It's basically, mentally it's kind of even now that Joe's pulled ahead with the first 2 points. So, I mean, you can't really raise the stakes any higher, is what it feels like to me.
It's been a long, drawn-out tournament too. These World Championships aren't short. They take the better part of a year now. The next one has some changes to earn qualifications in different ways so that it's not so long. But these two players have been going the distance.
Right. I mean, the first rounds was back in. I guess these guys didn't play in the first rounds, but the very first games were like early April, if I'm not mistaken. Back when we were still alive, and yeah, it's been amazingly long. I mean, last year it wrapped up around October, if my memory serves. Is that
It
right,
did.
Andy? And
Well, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do with the tournament next year is it's probably going to last almost as long in the amount of time, but because the top 8 from this year automatically qualify for the championship, and there'll be other invitations given throughout, so that the top 16 won't have to play the entire time. So the Board Space Open will start in the spring, probably in March or April, but the actual tournament won't start until, I would guess, probably early summer. So hopefully it won't be quite as long. Long and
especially
grueling.
for those top players, yeah.
There'll be
And
a
just the context, this tournament has lasted about as long as the COVID shutdown. So if you can remember life before COVID, that's
Yeah,
about
exactly.
right.
been playing Hive for this
Yeah,
tournament.
that's a great point. Here we are.
And here I am sitting. I do everything in my life, it seems like, right in this chair,
Yeah,
right in this spot.
Andy, you have the coolest bed frame I've ever seen.
I know.
Wheel.
So I hope someday to have a ship to go with it.
Oh, there you go. Hey,
What kind
you're
of
saving
ship?
up, I hope.
Well, do you want to hear the real story, or do you want to hear the story I like to tell?
Can we hear both?
Sure.
Yeah, let's start with
let's
the
start
one
with
you tell.
the story that I like to tell.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Quodlibet has joined, so we may have to do this a little bit later.
Okay.
So both players are in the lobby. So we will transition over to the both players are in the lobby and are just waiting for them to get started. Looks like they're going to be playing in game room 4. So I'll need you guys to carry me for a few minutes, because while I get the actual match play window going, once they get started, I have to just kind of do it through my desktop.
All right.
Well,
Looks
as soon as
both
Quad
in the
goes in
lobby.
there, we can jump in.
So they're about ready to start. Quodlibet is playing white, Jewdoka playing black in game room 4, game 3 of the tournament. So let me get this open here.
Okay, so Joe is starting black.
Oh, that's interesting.
Eric.
Quad starts with the Pillbug, which is not a normal thing for him, if memory serves. I don't remember a lot of games where he leads that way. So.
Yeah, Joe mentioned during our chat during the third place match that he predicted that Quad would be a little aggressive and start Pillbug as white. So that was
Interesting.
a nice call from Joe here. So he probably knew this was coming, so he should have a way to respond. This mosquito response against the white Pillbug start's really surprising to me. I actually had asked Joe many months ago how to defend against it, and I saw a lot of people using mosquito. The idea is that you can get the Pillbug power from the opposing Pillbug and then put your own Pillbug in line, and that creates two very defensive ends and slows down a very aggressive white attack. However, Joe didn't really like using the mosquito there because he figured he'd want it for, I believe his phrase was, better purposes. So the
Mhm.
fact that he's done it now is very surprising.
Yeah, I was just chatting with a couple different players about this exact opening situation and how it can, you know, be effective at really drawing a game up, but ultimately maybe not the most effective way to actually pull off a win. So it's possible that different players about this exact opening. Joe decided, well, at the very least, I have a decent chance of a draw. How it can.
Okay. And he does hate draws though, so if he's doing
Right.
that, that reminds me of the classic Bobby Fischer game against one of the USSR players. At least in the documentary, the USSR player knew that Bobby Fischer hated ties, and so he played in a way to force a bad move to get that.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe here is taking down the beetle and then simultaneously pinning the mosquito, which is his other ability to crawl or to climb. The problem is that other ant at the very bottom, if it moves, that mosquito gets pulled over and climbed on top of any number of bad things. So it's kind of a tenuous place. I'd imagine Joe would be very tempted right now to pin one of those ants against the opposing queen to take a tempo. The question is whether he can afford it.
Interestingly, I was just talking about this exact situation with Joe the other day in a game that I was playing, and he had mentioned specifically to me that the inline anti-spawn defense, which is what he's doing with black here, tends to be really bad against the pillbug opening with the mosquito. So he clearly has been thinking ahead to how is he going to respond, kind of knowing that Quad is going to stick that mosquito right where he stuck it, so and create the pocket.
So Joe's got all of his most important defensive pieces out, pretty much. And there's not a whole lot of potential for interaction of the queens because of that inline queen start on white, very aggressive. So I think now Quad's going to have to either pin an ant or attack another way. I think he'll pin the ant.
Mm-hmm. So the other interesting thing about this opening for black is that Joe has got to have a strategy in his head for freeing that mosquito at some point, but because the mosquito is touching a pillbug, he's got to be a little careful, right? Because he can get it thrown away in a spot that's not that helpful to him. So it'll be interesting to see if and when that comes to fruition in the mid game.
Yeah, so I don't think that you can forcibly free your own mosquito very efficiently in this case. I think it's more the case of the opponent not being able to fill that particular space. But that's kind of true of releasing say, a ladybug start anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main advantage of this black mosquito response to white pillbug is just to slow white down ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
It's at a big cost, though.
Right.
So am I correct? Now, if it's Quodlibet's move right now, am I correct in saying that he can force the freedom of his first beetle?
Yeah, with the spider.
Well,
excuse me, with an ant. Yes.
Right. If he brought an ant and brought it down into the elbow, that would force the first white beetle up. Isn't that correct?
Well, if he did the correct ant, right? If
he did
the
top ant. Right.
Yeah.
So if he did that, that would be 1, climbs with the beetle, 2, covers the pillbug, 3. But then he doesn't have a lot of spawn points available. So it might have a little shift in tempo there. I think he'll be more likely to pin one of the ants, but the downside of that is it's going to pin the pillbug, which then cannot be lifted by the white mosquito and free the beetle.
I will say it would seem very clear to me that he's probably deciding that very thing, just because that seems like the only real choice here is, do I try to free this beetle or do I just look to pin an ant?
And I never know in this situation which of the ants to pin. If he pins the left one, then a spider can come in and pin the ant that's pinning, like where he went there. And if he went the other one, then it's more in line.
But I think with that pin right there, if a bug ends up immediately to the left of the pillbug, then the white mosquito can do a pillbug harassment and suck the black pillbug away from the queen.
Mm-hmm.
course, but that's only half the battle because the black mosquito is also pillbug powers on the other side of the queen.
Yeah, I think in this case it's more likely that you get the queen covered if we're going to get a short game. Long game, I could see them both covered.
Hey Randy, just Christian just is in the room and just was mentioning he's trying to log into the Zoom. You want to post that for him or so he can join us?
Okay. What happened to my...
Another thing, Randy and Cody, that's interesting to me here is that with 2 pillbugs, effectively, Quad is going to have 2 climbers, right?
It depends. So you cover the one, you fill the 2 spots around nearest that one, and then one of the other 2, and then you don't need to cover the remaining one.
Right.
Well, it depends on how it's filled and how it's covered, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. It's most likely going to end up in the covering of both, or the covering of the queen.
Of the queen, right? The reason I point that out is that Quad has to be really careful about not getting his last beetle pinned, because doing that essentially makes it really hard, much more complicated to try to pull off a real win here.
So I think Quad will kind of try to fill that space to the left of the black pillbug, of what we were talking about earlier. So then the pillbug gets warped, and then the beetle, it climbs, and that beetle can then go cover the black mosquito.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for Joe, I think the big thing is that you eventually have to do a counterattack as black. If you just try to withstand an attack the whole game, you'll eventually fall apart. So he's got that free ant available. Can he afford to pin the white ant against the white queen? Take a tempo that way.
Well, we have another commentator joining us, Christian Sperling from Down Under. Hi, Christian.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, Christian. Welcome. Good morning to you. What time is it today, right now?
7. Shortly past 7. Yeah,
Nice.
Just made it.
Nice.
He's a trooper.
Yeah.
Are you a morning
No, I
person?
couldn't see. No, it's way too hot here. I woke up at 5:30
Oh.
because it feels like 30 degrees already. I mean
boy.
Celsius, which is probably 90 something Fahrenheit.
Oh, right. Your seasons are flipped from us. I forgot about that.
I wonder, I thought they started already. Why aren't we seeing board?
In room 4, they're in there. It's going. Are you not in their room 4?
Usually
you
I
mean
just
on
use
the
on Zoom.
Oh no, he just Randy's sharing it to the YouTube, not to the Zoom. I don't think. Is that right, Randy?
No, yeah, it's not on Zoom.
He's just sharing it to.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have it open in our own windows here.
Okay. Somewhere on my Samsung tablet I can do a split screen. Have to
I
figure
just
that
used
out.
the phone last time, and I went to the YouTube video. It's like a few seconds late, but it'll work.
Okay.
So Joe's considering the counterattack with the spider here, just to think about like what you were saying, Cody, right? Like providing an option to at least slow down the onslaught.
And the nice thing about that is that spider attacks a place where a beetle might spawn adjacent that pillbug and then advance, so it takes a little bit longer. Although I saw him considering pinning the ant, which would actually steal a tempo, and that's what I would expect him to do.
Because he can always play that spider in the next turn.
Right. Although Quads has one more ant in reserve and Black does not. But if Black gets his last ant pinned here, that's gonna be a little rough. There he goes. So he makes a false pin, which means that the all the queen can't be surrounded with that white ant getting free, most likely, unless the pin gets shifted or the ant gets covered. The most likely reason for that is just to reduce the spawn points.
Or do you think he's setting up to do a pin replacement so the pin replacement will be in line and be a true pin?
That's
Maybe
true.
both.
And if he does it with a spider in the top left, it'll attack one of the spaces by the queen. Of course, that would then need to be self-pinned.
It's also worth noting that doing the false pin there suggests that Joe's playing the long game here. He's definitely, this counterattack is not about trying to really flip quad quickly. It's just, I just need to like hold on for life early on here.
Christian, congratulations on your one game advantage on Friday.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it was a mix of choosing the right strategy and, of course, a bit of luck, especially at the end. At the end of game one, the long one.
For those of you who missed it, Christian played Frank on Friday night for the third place match. And one of the games had this interesting, huge clump of black bugs all in the middle of the hive. And eventually you got drawn out.
It was great. Chris, I wasn't on the commentary, but just watching the commentary in the background, listening to Cody, Randy, and Joe, and Francisco, I think, try and guess which bug would move, and very clearly, almost every time it was like, I think he's gonna move the hopper now, and nope, it was the ladybug, or here's the beetle, or whatever. It was really fun.
We still think he
I
should have.
watched the replay, and it was interesting to see how clear you said, okay, now he has to do this, and now he has to that, and I thought like, okay, no, that's not what I did. It's interesting, and of course, some of your suggestions in hindsight, I think, were better than what I did.
Yeah,
And,
the mosquito move or the pill bug at the very end was certainly the harder way to go.
Yeah.
Where your opponent formed a ring and you could have just climbed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was really concerned. I had this huge ring, or it was an open ring, and I tried to desperately close it somehow until I found that solution that I first had to jump in with one hopper and then with another, just to force him to cover my mosquito. I mean, it's now hard for the viewers to digest what I'm saying, because it was a very complex game.
It just highlights how easy it is to sit here without pressure and commentate.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, no
Exactly.
question about that. So Quodlibet brought in his last ant, so all the ants are in.
Yep, and Joe can't pin it without releasing the beetle and then the powerful mosquito, so it's pretty much free. And if Joe attempts a pin replacement, like Randy had mentioned earlier, that's going to get pinned.
Have you already commented on Joe's start defense opening sequence?
Yeah, but let's hear what you think.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised, because I think Joe wants to get out of the opening sequence without having a big disadvantage. And of course, that sandwiched queen is very hard to attack. So that gives him a bit more opportunity to drag out the game, to find some different ways to defend. He knows that it's a bit more on the defensive side, but I think he feels more comfortable than just trying to go for a quick counter.
So Quodlibet opened with a pill bug. Are you a little bit surprised by that, Christian?
No, not at all, because I think the first two games he was probably a bit frustrated. I mean, they both played very well, but obviously it didn't work out for Quad, and Joe put so much effort into preparing for this match. I'm sorry for the background. The leaf blowers are already busy again every time. I think it's probably every Monday or something like that. So if you have to mute me, please let me know.
No problem.
Yeah, so I think Quad realized that if he plays his usual game, which worked in the past, maybe this year he won't succeed. So he needs to just switch things a bit around and just change it a bit up. Bit more variation, a bit more, maybe a bit more aggression. Because his usual control game wasn't too successful in the first two games, although I have to say it was very, very close. It could have worked.
So we've seen now Quad makes the ant move to free the beetle that we were expecting potentially earlier, or thought he might have chosen to do earlier, and then Joe's response of bringing the beetle in to defend.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen that ant instead go adjacent to black pill bug, so then the mosquito could pull the pill bug out and then climb with the beetle to attack the opposing mosquito. Because the way he does it this way is he's got to probably get two things atop the hive, and that black beetle is defending now.
And now the white mosquito or the black mosquito has beetle power potentially.
Yeah, I don't think that the black spider can attack now, because then the ant can shift the pin onto that beetle. But if he does attack, he has the option of a double beetle attack, because he's still got, a single beetle attack, and that'll put a little pressure. Also, Joe thinks he can counter.
So do you think Joe's just going to attack with his beetle? Now look at this too, guys. If the white beetle covers the black pill bug, that allows a direct drop spot where the mosquito could then climb up. So Quodlibet can get two bugs atop the hive.
Well, whether Joe decides to counter with that beetle and attack the white pill bug or not, he's threatening to do so, which is kind of classic high-level move, right? Because it forces Quad to defend here, or at least think about defending.
And this spider now can trap that queen in, who could move at this point. I think if the queen moves, he gets a nice pocket there. Mm-hmm. That's bad for black. But I think he moves spider next. And that beetle that Quad dropped is I would argue, defense. So that if the black beetle advances, the white beetle recovers.
Agreed.
And then that it's also nice because then if it ever drops, it can move one away and cover the black mosquito, which is currently under the black beetle.
Right. Or attack the last kill spot if necessary too.
I think that'll be for the other beetle. It's well, I guess the other beetle could cover the black pill bug.
Pill bug, right? Yeah.
So we're 17 minutes in. Jewdoka is right about +5. It's a plus 15-minute time limit, so we're not in time pressure yet.
So what we've mentioned attacking with the spider, just essentially to keep the queen from moving. What other things do you think Joe might be considering here? I'm curious to hear our world champions give their thoughts. Now that there's two on the call.
I had stopped now, so I unmuted myself.
Okay.
I wanted to say, on one hand, Joe's attack with a beetle is a bit risky because the moment he goes on top of the white pillbug, he also takes away from his own defense because his mosquito underneath profits from the adjacent white pillbug.
Good point.
So that's a risk. But on the other hand, what I think Joe's idea here, or best what I would do is, not even for a cover, he could just try to fully surround the pillbug, which means he would still have, if he drops down, for example, with his beetle to the right, before, of course, his spider would pin the white queen. That means his mosquito would still have the mosquito power, but on the white mosquito itself doesn't have many spots to lift the queen or anything else out. So he would first need to fill the spot left to the white pillbug too, and then drop down, for example, to the right. But I'm not sure
the tempo for that, because the black beetle covers, or the white beetle covers the black pillbug, and then you got a direct drop to free the white mosquito.
Yeah, and because he also frees his queen at the same time, white would have to cover the queen to not let it escape.
You're saying if black immediately drops right now?
No, after he has attacked with the spider.
Okay. So he
but of
attacks,
course,
drops,
I think
and threatens to climb with one of the two.
Yeah, but I think the next, I think Quad will then cover the queen because he sees that potentially Quad has this double move, dropping down with the beetle and at the same time freeing the queen. So he can't defend against both at the same time. So probably his response would be in the next move to cover either the queen or to have, yeah, probably he has to cover the queen.
But then the beetle that just drops down climbs up either onto the other white beetle or the white pillbug. Oh, Joe's great at counting tempo, so I think he thinks he's got the lead here. And so if Quad recovers, then Black is pinning the queen with the spider.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, probably the ends are like decisive, that Quad has only one end free while Joe has two, which gives him like the additional tempo, so he doesn't have to bring in another bug while Quad has to. Yeah, so I think you are right, he is ahead in tempo.
And both mosquitoes are tied down, and they both could get free, but I think the white mosquito is a little bit more likely to be free. The white beetle at the bottom advances, direct drop, the mosquito's free, and it can then climb or stay put.
But personally, I wouldn't have attacked if I had been Joe in Joe's shoes, because, as I said, he took away the power of his
second pillbug.
Yeah, because that is basically was one of the biggest defensive strength of his openings. So either he had really well counted and then he has to go, now the plan is clear, which I also don't like. I like to keep it a bit more ambiguous, that you let your opponent guess how he will proceed. Now there is kind of a not really clear path, but it's kind of obvious what's going down. So either Joe has made the right move and knows he will win from here, or yeah, it's a very kind of predictable game now, what Joe will do at least.
I mean,
yeah, for a predictive game, we should be able to count tempo, right?
Exactly, right. So here we are. Yeah. Joe is at 1, 2, 3, 4 to win.
Yeah.
If there's no defense.
Just a quick comment. Francesco is watching in the YouTube, and he said that he believes that Black is ahead by 1 tempo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's ahead by 1 tempo. And you can go in 4, but you'll probably go in 5 so he doesn't release an ant.
Right.
So like
Agreed.
and 1, move to
and also
go ahead, Christian.
Also Joe has 2 false pins. Not false pins, but both his mosquito and the pillbug will be released once a kill spot next to them is filled, which makes it even harder, or is contributing to his tempo advantage.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think Quad has the tempo to climb with the mosquito now.
Nope, it takes too long.
Yeah, so this is really the impressive part, I think, what sets them apart, that they know when to attack and they count very far ahead. And when I'm not sure if I would have seen it already that I can attack and be ahead. Probably I would have been preoccupied with so many other ideas how to do it, and often then I use a more complicated version, and they are more straightforward. Or at least Joe in this case.
Yeah, I think your tendency in that regard is similar to Quad's. He likes to control to maximum effect. Whereas Joe is all about efficiency.
Mm-hmm. So Quad is in a decision, right? How can I defend? Well, let's assume Quad is counting the tempo correctly, right? So
yeah.
I mean,
and he knows that, so I think the obvious choice what he has to do is freeing his mosquito, which then has end power. This is his best chance. I don't think he I think he will lose anyway, but I think that's the
You don't
best
think
move.
he'll pin
How else can he defend, for example, against Super?
You don't think he'll defend against that? He'll pin the beetle with the white ant at the bottom? I think he will. The question is whether he'll do it to place a block on that spot or at the top to
exactly and prevent a hopper or a ladybug spot.
And if he does that, I think a hopper is coming in off of the top right ant to attack that really hard to reach spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it's not really hard right now, but it could be hard.
He could free the mosquito first and then march towards the bottom black ant to free his second ant. If he moves immediately down with his beetle, then he can't drop anything next to his mosquito. And then he has only basically one ant free instead of a mosquito and an ant.
What if he puts the ladybug?
But he's too late anyway.
You don't think there's any way he can defend?
I imagine there might be a way. I just don't see it for white. I think he's got to pin that beetle, because the nice thing about pinning a beetle now is that spot's probably going to get filled by something else, and then the beetle's slow to get to another spot.
Right. It's an extra tempo waste.
Yeah. I think if he does pin that, then Joe either attacks the spot below the queen by adding a piece, or maybe even adds his ladybug in adjacent his mosquito to then threaten to free the mosquito or the queen by moving the ladybug to the right.
What do you think? Cody, what do you all think about him putting a piece on attached to the other spider spot to keep maximum flexibility here, like a hopper or the ladybug up there?
If he adds the hopper there, it's only attacking the spot that the beetle can move into with no loss in tempo.
Right.
And if it's the ladybug, I think it'd be better adjacent the black queen and the black mosquito, because then you can attack the spot below the queen, or you can threaten to free the mosquito and the black queen.
Nice. Okay, cool.
And also, if you add it off the spider, if somehow white gets, say, that mosquito free, he can pin that piece, and then you got another block on the
right.
spot around the queen.
A kill spot, yeah. I think I was seeing it that way too, but I think that's an instructive moment for intermediate players here of like, what's going on, or why wouldn't he just put something on that spider?
So if white does pin that black beetle like we're talking about, I wonder if that the black ant fills the spot below the white queen so that the white mosquito can't crawl out. I think that blocks it.
Yes, I agree.
Say it again. What were you saying?
Then the ant fills the spot underneath the white queen.
That way, if white direct drops adjacent the beetle and the mosquito, the white mosquito cannot just crawl out anymore.
Got it. Yeah, he creates a gate.
Use its ant power.
Ant power. Yeah. That's a great point. Good catch.
So I think Quad simultaneously wants to trap that black ant, but also not advance so that he can free his white mosquito. And I'm not sure that Quad can afford to let that beetle advance. So I think the beetle will get pinned. But he doesn't have a whole lot of options at that point.
And you think it'll be pinned so that it's placing a block on the space immediately to the left of the queen?
Maybe. If he does that, then I think a grasshopper can come up to the top. But then, like we talked about earlier, I think the ant's going to go in there anyway. So yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a block.
I will say, Quad is now at 4 minutes, something like that. Thinking about this, he's really thinking hard. So
he got bamboozled a little bit, I think. That really nice recognition of the opportunity to counterattack by Joe. That's really key when you play black. You've got to find a place to get the put pressure on white.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, this is Joe, showing his mastery of the tempo count and thinking through these situations in advance, because he, clearly had a plan for this.
And I want to point out too, that spider placement by Joe was really big. Being able to use spiders effectively is a mark of a master, I think. Usually you see a spider being ambiguous, but in this case, it was only going to do one thing, but it could do that thing even if the queen moved. So that was kind of like an extra ant in that moment. Right? Because if the queen had escaped, we'd have a totally different game right now. It'd probably be favoring black in terms of tempo.
Right.
Also, we talked about earlier the beetle covering the white pillbug. That allows that that non-inline pin, not the false pin on the ant. It's okay now because that can be the last spot filled. Whereas if the pillbug hadn't been covered or had been a ladybug start anyways, you can't do that on both ends.
Right.
Francesco says he's really pessimistic for Quad's position.
Yep.
If the ladybug goes in the pocket right where the beetle, mosquito, and ant goes, Quodlibet has a count of 4. Ladybug comes in, ladybug attacks, ant attacks, beetle attacks. Can Jewdoka win faster than that?
Yeah, he can do 4. He can force 4.
He's 1 ahead, right?
But if so let's count for Jewdoka. Jewdoka moves the beetle in. That's 1. Then the only way he can fill the next to the last spot is with the black ant that's currently pinning the white ant, and that frees the white ant for defense.
Right, but then it forces white to defend at that point. So the question is, does black then have another angle of attack to get in, which he would off of the spider or the beetle to add his ladybug?
Right. So white does not have enough defenders.
I think so.
Not
if
currently.
The mosquito had ant power, I think the white would have, but the ant has to evacuate quickly in order to catch up. Well, let's see. So if, like Randy was saying, drop the ladybug to the right of the bottom white beetle, then black advances with the beetle into 1 spot, and then white's got a free move, maybe pinning the black ant with the white mosquito.
Yep.
I'm not sure which black ant. I'm figuring the one that's doing the false pin on the queen, because that's kind of been a bad. It's a little thing to work around.
Yep.
And then black, then that's evacuating a space by the queen, though. So then black's got a little bit of breathing room. So he probably then adds in his attacking ladybug, or maybe even a grasshopper at the top. But you're right, Randy. Maybe the obvious move isn't to pin the beetle. Then it's just to drop that piece, get that defender. It's still rough, though, I think.
Did anybody happen to notice how long ago Joe made that last move? So, because the timing is completely flipped. It was 5 minutes ahead for Jewdoka, and now it's 2 minutes ahead for Quad, I think.
I'm not sure, but that would be 7 minutes of thinking.
7.5 minutes, yeah, at least.
Francesco says this open is clearly the best option for black against the white pillbug J opening.
Yeah, but you can't know that it's going to be a J instead of a C or Z by the second move.
Right.
So. Also worth pointing out that Joe had to play perfect, right? Like he can't make any mistakes to get ahead 1 tempo. And I think if Quad was to do it over again, I don't think he would defend with the beetle recover there. I think he's realized now that was probably a mistake.
You think he'd move the queen out?
Yeah, I think he'd move the queen out.
That would string the ant and the beetle. But if that central spot were ever filled, then or he could place a hex trap there, and then he could free the ant and the beetle. So yeah, maybe that's better.
I think seeing. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Seeing that after 27, 28 moves, the double pillbug defense worked already, and basically Joe is already almost in a winning stage. It just shows that there is a strategic miscalculation on Quad side, and I think if Francesco said it's the best defense against an start pillbug by White. On one hand, I agree, but I think what White has to do is take advantage that the mosquito is pinned basically as a start bug, the black mosquito, which means White has to play very much for control and pin as many pieces as possible. And I think what Quad did instead is trying to attack rather quickly. And this is basically a mistake, because at some point you are underestimating the defensive capabilities of Black. And this gave Joe the opportunity to counterattack. So I think
the turning point then, according to that, would be when White freed his beetle by moving the ant in, self-pinning it.
Yeah. I think it's just like being too aggressive too quickly. If he had played more really for control and maybe even prepared for to suppress any counterattack, he would have been much better off.
Now that was interesting.
Isn't that an immediate loss?
No, he's got 2 spots.
Yeah.
And he put a block on the top spot. So
now Joe has to figure out the final move here, because it's going to be trickier to get to that last one.
But he can fill that spot no matter what.
I guess that's true. The other ant can get there.
Yeah. So then it's just that last spot up there. Yeah. I think White, I don't know, maybe he pins that so that then he can't do a drop of another grasshopper to attack the top spot. Because if he drops it off this ant at the top right, then the ladybug can repin and get 2 bugs.
If really necessary, the beetle can just walk on top of the hive and block the white ant. So it can later, the black beetle will drop as to fill the last kill spot. First, it will cover the ant, which is otherwise escaping if the kill spot top left to the white ant.
Oh, hold on a second. If he uses that newly placed ladybug to spawn a spider, then the spider will be in good position to pin any grasshopper that comes in.
And to replace the pin on the... Although he kind of needs to hold that block because the black has that 1 free ant at the bottom. So if White spins the tempo doing that, I wonder if that beetle climbs like you were talking about. The thing is, though, White hasn't removed any of his bugs adjacent to White Queen, so he can still threaten with the same amount of tempo. Right? He still wins in 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
As long, I guess, the black beetle will cover the white beetle.
This is always trying to still keep his own chances to win alive. So he hasn't even just buried his hopes to maybe counter the counter.
You think maybe black beetle covers white beetle, though, to take that last, the one to fill that last spot?
It would be good
that costs too much tempo because that empties the spot.
Yeah, not right now. I mean, if White tries to defend by freeing that mosquito, moving out, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think all that will happen once he gets his White is forced to use his ant, and Joe has to really keep him more busy, and only if Quad has to give up basically his attack plans so far that Joe is 2 or 3 tempo ahead. Only then he can climb up with the beetle.
So, just back to if Quad wants to use his mosquito as a defender, he essentially has to pin the hopper now, right? Because otherwise, he can't get that mosquito out.
Well, if he lets the hopper go free, then there's one spot left. So he frees his mosquito now. Hopper jumps in. Then at that point, white has the one mosquito free to try to defend because the black ant can't hit that last spot because of the block that the ladybug has done.
Right.
What if he back to my original question? What if he puts a spider on the ladybug in such a way that if anything comes in to attack that spot that the ladybug is protecting, the spider can pin it?
I like that. The inline spider off the ladybug.
Inline spider off the ladybug, because it's drastically reducing the possibility of spawn points that can have lines of attack to that
can defend
spot.
Yeah, it becomes an ant defender essentially.
So if you say the white ant pins now the black grasshopper, then what I think would happen is that the freed black ant fills the kill spot to the south of the queen.
Yep.
So, and then you say the white spider comes in. Yeah, but why?
That's too late.
Spawn point
because the
black has a spawn point down south of the mosquito as well, where a hopper can be placed, aiming on that last kill spot.
So, Randy, are you saying you think he'll pin the grasshopper or not?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think that will work.
I don't think it'll work now that Christian makes that comment, because there's too many. I was looking at only the spawn points up around the white queen, but there is a spawn point down on the
mosquito.
Black queen, yeah.
On the black queen mosquito. He's got. Joe has three bugs that can jump into control spaces: 2 grasshoppers and a ladybug.
So if he doesn't pin the hopper, what other options does he have? So obviously then the hopper jumps in, and it still leaves at least 2 spawn points for 2 other hoppers to fill the last kill spot. Actually 3.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, but I think so. I think he free the mosquito, but I don't think it'll. To your point, I don't think it'll work because it's only 1 defender and 3 attackers.
Right, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't see any defense option for Quad.
Maybe forming that block with that ladybug costs too much tempo because it's place and move, and he was already down by 1.
Mm-hmm. He needed to place it where we were saying, down by the mosquito, to get the defender quickly, right? Just to have a chance.
Yeah.
I think, whatever. I think the ladybug move wasn't the best. Maybe, I don't know if there was anything else which was actually better, but now in hindsight, it's easy to say or to see that it didn't really yield the result Quad wanted.
I think you spawn the ladybug down at the bottom to free the mosquito, and then that threatens the ladybug to be able to pin the black ant at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. Good point.
My idea was maybe it's exactly what you said. I didn't catch that. To free the ladybug with to free the white mosquito with the ladybug, because even if then the white mosquito would be boxed in, it still has ladybug power, which means it would cover effectively the spawn point next to the black mosquito where a hopper can come in.
Yeah, it could go that way, or it could pin the black ant at the right, which is kind of a key piece of mobility at this point.
I mean, hopper in that spot would actually threaten the ant as well, although I think you're right. I think ladybug's the right choice in that spot. Again, easy to armchair quarterback that. With no pressure on. Of
course, but we'll probably get another game after this too. So
I think
stay
so.
tuned,
Yeah, I think you're
fans.
Right. And at this point, Quad's 10.5 minutes, exhausting as much time as possible to sort of see if there's anything he's missed. Is it 12 minutes?
But it's not a good time.
15 in the finals.
15. Okay, so he's got time.
it's not a good sign if you use like 7 or 8 minutes for a move when you are under heavy pressure. It just shows that you realize it looks almost lost.
It appears that
Not
Quad
zero.
is conceding here. He's done the math.
Well, let's ask this question: what if he put a hopper in that spot where he spawned the ladybug?
That could threaten both. Yeah.
And then it would, because that would stop the grasshopper from attacking. Then he could jump out with the hopper and pin that most recently placed black hopper.
That's true. It might be worth it. Sleight of hand. These guys are.
So let's play that out. Then the hopper. Then I think black brings in another hopper to attack the spot at the top of the queen.
Right.
And then the white hopper jumps out, pins the black hopper. Then the free black ant could fill the spot below the queen, threatening to win with the other hopper.
Mm-hmm.
And then that ant then pins that hopper, and then
Ladybug wins.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the ladybug would have to be spawned, but yeah.
Right.
The white ladybug could then pin the incoming black ladybug.
So maybe I have a shorter way for black. If the black beetle is not pinned, the black beetle goes up, and then Quad has to pin the other ant, because otherwise the ant will fill the spot where the beetle is now, and then the beetle drops down into the last skill spot.
Well, regardless, it looks
So
like it's going down like we thought it would. That white ant at the top, though, is free to repin because that black grasshopper doesn't have a point anymore.
Right.
Unless the ant comes back out. So, like, if the white ant goes and pins that new grasshopper, then the ant swings all the way around to pin something, and that grasshopper threatens to fill the spot again.
I'm actually surprised he didn't use the ladybug to pin that. I guess he couldn't. Never mind. There's a free ant. So.
Yeah, there's a free ant.
Right,
Well,
so
Joe just won game number 3.
Wow.
That's black.
And 3-0.
We did not predict that one.
Nope.
Joe is very focused this year.
I think that since he has written the book, I think it's not only to give something to the community. When you write a book, you explain also things to yourself.
Yep.
I noticed that when I teach beginner Hive players and explain my strategies and my thinking, it also just induces some self-reflection about why I'm doing things. And I think Joe benefited from writing his own book. Because, all the tactics and how to be so methodical in his approach. While Quad, on the other hand, he hasn't played much at all on board game arena. So he is, I don't know how he trains, but what I found, I always played better in the tournaments if I had some practice already weeks and months ago. So I was really in a good playing routine. If I just the years when I just started playing Hive 2 or 3 weeks before the tournament started, it was probably most of the time not a good year for me.
Well, it looks like this is the only game they're going to play today.
All right.
Oh.
That gives Joe a chance to plan playing white, come out and take the tournament on the very next game.
Yeah.
So Jewdoka now leads 3-0. Game 4 will be later in the week. They're saying that maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tetris? Do we want to invite Joe to join us?
Let me.
Sounds like these two had set a time limit for an hour or something to actually play a game. So.
Joe says, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for playing, Joe and Quad. It was an instructive game. A very, very nice example of a counterattack and how you can give up all your complication as black and just go for the win at some point.
Okay, Joe might be joining us. I will email him a link. So I've put the welcome screen back up on the display. Let me just make a note here. I can't spell, but I guess people don't worry about that.
Yeah, it looks like you had 36 or 7 people at one point there watching the broadcast.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The community grows.
It is.
I think this is the biggest development in the kind of evolution of Hive this year, like broadcasting regularly live, because it attracts so many more people. It just kind of promotes the game, because it's forever then on YouTube, and you see like how many people like to watch the games, even though those broadcasts are like 2 or 3 hours at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Silver lining to COVID,
I mean,
getting everyone used to Zoom.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Randy, would you have ever joined Zoom if not for COVID?
Nope, never heard of it before COVID.
What's
Yeah,
funny
thanks
is
so much for doing that.
when Randy and Joe were in town for a little event last year, I had started talking to Joe about, I use Zoom for work all the time, and I'm sure we could do kind of a clinic or some sort of instructional thing over Zoom. It'd be a great idea. And he looked at me like I was speaking Mandarin. What? Okay, let's talk later. And here we are doing exactly that. So anyway, it's awesome.
So I just texted him.
I think the next.
I just texted him the room
Zoom link.
information, so hopefully he'll be joining.
The next step is probably maybe just to, it involves a bit of editing work, but to have like a kind of a highlight recap of games, especially when they last 2 or 3 hours, that you condense them in like 10 minutes, partially maybe with fast, not what's the opposite for slow motion?
We're talking about like stop motion, not stop motion.
Yeah.
What?
I can't come up with words.
What's the word for that?
Fast forward.
Joe. Yeah.
I think the word for that is Randy needs to do more work.
Yeah, exactly. You're just adding to Randy's.
That's right. You all are doing that completely.
Hello.
Hey, champ, look at you. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, tough game, right?
That was gutsy. Taking
It
tempo.
really was. Yeah. It certainly seemed like you had a very clear plan for this one going into it, the way it worked itself out. So.
Yeah, wow. I usually don't play like that. I usually play Ladybug first, but I thought maybe since he was doing that, he's ready for my Ladybug, so I went the other direction with the Mosquito first.
Yeah, interesting. So you hadn't planned that until he played the pillbug, or was that were you anticipating him playing opening with the pillbug, or what were you thinking there?
I thought that it was a possibility, but like a 5%. So I really
Oh wow.
I really didn't study that or prepare for that.
Huh.
But I had in the back of my mind that I would handle it that way. You know, that's not my game plan. I stole that from somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've seen it 100 times. I've played it a few times, but
Yeah.
It's
really
very interesting. The last time that I started White Pillbug and I asked you about it, I guess it wasn't the last time, it was quite a while ago. I believe your words were, there are better uses for the mosquito.
Mosquito.
So I didn't think you do that at all. I was shocked.
yeah. Yep. No, I agree with that statement. And, you know, I don't think Quodlibet's ever seen me play like that. So it worked.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
you want to review the game at all, or would that be revealing too much to your opponent?
Yeah, sure. I could do that. You want me to like, here, let me go back in there. I'm mobile here. So give me a second.
Showing off his Christmas tree.
Oh, look at that.
There it is.
That is so
Hey.
close to the ceiling.
By the
Yes,
way,
it
Kitty,
is.
I like your T-shirt. Can you show it in full?
Oh, hey, Yuka.
RoboCop. Look at you.
Yeah, this is my lucky
Hi,
RoboCop shirt. I never lose in my lucky RoboCop shirt.
Is this the
Awesome.
first time you've worn it?
No, it's always in the wash when I lose, though.
Oh man.
All right.
I was actually talking to Cody because he has like a T-Rex and a Christmas tree on his
Yeah,
shirt
he's trying to
somehow.
put the star on top, but he can't reach.
So I'm in room
Ah,
78,
okay.
Joe. If you
Got
can get
it.
into room 78, can you?
Yep.
The room 78 what I'm going to do is transition over. And before I transition over, I just want to tell everybody in the community, remember, this is the Play Hive Like a Champion YouTube channel. And don't forget, this is sponsored by my book, Play Hive Like a Champion. We don't have any financial resources coming in to support this channel. If you want to help support, you can buy my book if you haven't already. Look for it on Amazon, Play Hive Like a Champion. A little bit of self-promotion there, guys.
Hey, Joe
Yeah,
just did
gotta
the
do
same
it.
thing. It's book versus book. Hey, guys, just buy
Right.
both of them. They're
Let
both
me
great.
block his video out there. No, just kidding.
Right.
Maybe you have like
I mean,
a special deal for
there-
Christmas, like buy both books and get like $3 off or something.
So I've got
Yeah.
room 78 open if you want to go through and make any comments.
Yeah, I'm in there. Okay. Yeah, sure. So you can see me moving.
Well, we can.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I talked about, right? Instead of a ladybug right there, I went with the mosquito because I thought maybe he was prepared for it. Usually what I do is kind of the standard opening and then use that mosquito, not where it's at right now, but where it's usually at, to try to threaten the white queen. I think he was on to that. So I decided to go this route. So the reason why I kind of thought that he was going to do this is because I was up 2. If I were to get a draw, I would have been one more win to win the whole match. So I thought like he would probably want to avoid C, and this is what this opening does, right? It's very aggressive. He can attack very well. Also, he avoids C, so that draw is not too happening. Okay, so I got the anti-spawn defense here with a pillbug on both sides. Okay, so what sucks about this for him is he has to cover my queen. Right? You would think that you just cover that black pillbug and you're good to go, but that mosquito is so pesky. So it's harder to finish if you just cover the queen. Making sense so far?
Yes, it's like having two pill bugs.
Yep. Okay, so we fast forward a couple moves. I put my ant on this side for a reason. Okay. There we go. Okay, so he's enacting the plan that totally destroys this black setup if I had Ladybug first. Okay. So I've seen this a million times. I've been defeated by it a bunch. But, having that mosquito first is okay here. So then I anchor my pill bug down. Okay, then he...
Actually, Joe, can we stop you for a second?
Sure.
Can you share why you put the ant in that spot specifically?
This one?
The first ant. What you said, I put this ant here for a reason.
Yeah,
What was the
okay.
reason for putting your first
So
ant?
the idea is he's going to attack me in that little nook right there.
Yep.
He does. So then I anchor it down. He only has one place to put the beetle. Okay.
Yep.
So that's kind of the idea, is I don't want two spots for that beetle. So he's
Yep.
forced to put the beetle right there. Right. He doesn't have any other option for the beetle attack.
Yep.
And I'm able to just kind of lock it down. It'd be more difficult for me if his beetle was right here.
Yep.
Okay. And then I don't care.
Why
I don't
wouldn't God just attack from the other side with the mosquito then?
Because then he loses his neat little pocket right here.
Mm.
You see that? So this is a big pocket deal right here. Let's say his beetle goes up, then he has this pocket right here. And it doesn't seem like it's not in a shell, it's like an inverted pocket. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like if his beetle goes up, a new beetle goes here and I cannot stop that. Then it just marches over. Okay, so he wanted to plug this spot with the mosquito. And his ant is in the spot to also create that little pocket. So let's say let me just edit. Let's say his beetle is right there. Okay. He still has this pocket, right? So I know it's not his turn, but he can go like that. If his beetle is right here, he cannot do that. Okay, that's kind of long-winded for that.
So that's why you wanted to force him to place his beetle where he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that it kind of
It was
hex-trapped
just-
his beetle.
It was just a little inch of control just to guide his placement, just that little bit. Not the game winner or anything like that. Okay, so let me go back. Probably fumble with the controls here a little bit.
What we'll probably need to do, Joe, is go back.
Jump out and do it.
No, don't.
Yep.
Go back
Leave the
to-
room and come back.
No, I can just do this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Randy, is there any way to also share to the Zoom, because we're on a kind of a lag when he's going back and
Okay.
forth?
I'll go a little slower too.
Or actually, I can just open it in. Can we have more than 2 people in the review room?
Yeah,
Try it.
should be able to.
You should
Okay,
be
I'll
able to
do it
just
that
choose
way. Never mind.
spectate. You won't have control, but you
Yep.
should be able
I got it. I'm in.
Okay.
We're good. You don't have to go slower. I just wanted to be able to see what you're doing as you're doing it.
So I stop his beetle, just gaining myself time, right? Kind of worried about a beetle coming through the center. I can stop it though. He can warp my pill bug away. It's not that big of a deal because I still have that other one. Okay, so he plays another ant. I play another ant. I want him to pin one of mine. Then it anchors my pill bug down. I don't really care if it moves that much, but I'd rather have it in place if I could. So if he wants to play the ant game, he has to allow my pill bug to stay. Make sense? Okay, so he obliges. I spent a long time here thinking. I was thinking about placing a beetle off the mosquito in the same spot where I threatened the spider. Thought about that. But I kind of figured maybe let's just take that ant and sort of stretch him out. Maybe it turns into a draw, which is great, right? I hate draws, but one little step closer to a victory by pressure, right? Okay, so okay, I pin it. I probably should have pinned it straight. This false pin almost kind of ruined everything. If I would have pinned it straight, he wouldn't have had that nice little ladybug gate that he made later on in the game, which turned out to not really matter, but you never know. Okay, so here's where I think the game is kind of turned around. I thought about putting my spider off my ant at the top to threaten the pin replacement and threaten to pin his ant or queen, but I didn't want him to pin that because then he would have had a stationary false pin and his ant touching his queen would have ended up evacuating eventually. So I put it right there where I did. And he thought that now's the time to move the ant, obviously. But he moved it in a spot to free his beetle. I couldn't repin it, and he could qualify for the win. I think what he didn't realize is the next few moves here. So I'll step forward. Okay, so if I pin his queen now, then it's going to be harder to get a beetle up. So I just wanted that beetle up to cover his pill bug. I wanted to go then to his queen because I really thought he was just going to cover my pill bug, and which he did. And then my queen would still be free to escape with his pill bug and my mosquito, right? So my plan here with this beetle was to go down and cover his queen. He came up, I went up, and he placed that nice little beetle right there. And I did not anticipate that at all. So counting here was a big deal. I thought instead of recovering my pill bug or my beetle, when I cover his pill bug, he could just slide that sucker in and attack me. So there, I think I spent a lot of time here kind of considering what to do. And then I go forward and he recovers. So I don't want to say that was a mistake for him, but I don't know. Maybe there was another opportunity for him instead of recovery at that point.
Yeah, we're not sure, but we all seem to feel like that was the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Because at that point he had very little defensive opportunity and he's behind by 1 in tempo at least. So
yeah. So before this move, he's still down in tempo is what I kind of came to the conclusion of. It gets into a nasty little thing. I'll just play it out real quick and then do you want me to play it out real quick? I'll kind of destroy the room. We'll have to start again. So this is move 25.
Yeah, just go ahead.
So move 25. Okay, so tempo right here is complicated. It's his turn, right? So let's say if he just waited with that, and he goes here, I lock him down, probably here. I continue on kind of the same pattern. He comes in, I come in. He cannot slide this guy in because my mosquito comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He cannot go here first because now I win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe there's something you could have done to get out of there.
Joe, would have made it a difference if he had just sacrificed his beetle and had moved out with his queen?
Yeah.
Before you pinned him?
That's what we thought he would do.
Let me see here.
I I mean, it's looks like a bad move, but it might have
I'll reset
brought
the
him
room.
some tempo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so move 25.
Right there.
Yeah. If he moves out
Moves the
instead with his queen. His spider can't slide. It could slide in, but at least it frees his beetle, which then covers your beetle, takes away one attacker from your side, and he still can at the end use his white beetle on top of your black beetle to fill another kill spot at the end for his own attack.
Yeah. So just to be clear, it's his turn now instead of. Oops. Let me hit
What if
edit
he-
here.
What if he moved the white
Instead of-
queen?
Right. Instead of doing this, he does
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Right. You wouldn't want to go here.
Yeah, that was my question. No,
not there.
definitely out.
Right there. Yeah. So right here.
The question is, does that make a difference in tempo?
So my tempo right here would be. It's looking like 7, and his would be 7 as well. My turn first. I win first. It gets a little complicated here. Let me just play it out. I'll play it out quick. You never know what he would do, but maybe I would do this. If he stays here, that's kind of what I'm considering. So let's just say he marches forward, and so do I. I'll just play it out quick. What the heck? Right?
But if you said he stays, but what if he hadn't stayed? Because you took put a ladybug there, but if he had moved on another spot, even further
Pin
out.
your ant. Yeah.
Yeah, he loses the same amount of tempo, and he can still attack.
Because now his your beetle is further away and can't fill that last kill spot so quickly.
True.
Yeah, and suddenly it looks different. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously we don't all just beeline it for victory all the time. So, maybe,
of course not.
Right.
I mean, it's
Maybe
very
he should-
counterintuitive to move 2 times with your queen.
yeah. So I would have counted that out and seen it just like I did right here in my head and sort of prepared for that. And I think what I probably would have done is I have this nice pre-swamp maneuver that I can do. It's just kind of sitting there ready and waiting. And even in this scenario, maybe it works. Okay, so that's this. My mosquito is now pre-swamped. So let's say he takes this spot, mosquito is gone. Takes this spot, mosquito is gone. So, so that's rough, right? And maybe it doesn't matter, but so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
it would have bought you probably 1 tempo with you.
Yep. So I'm not sure if it's worth totally thinking about everything, but I had that neat little defensive move too. So that would have weighed in the consideration with that, with the tempo. So tempo-wise, he was ahead, but I had a nasty complication to screw everything up. Maybe it would have worked, maybe it wouldn't. Also, maybe I wouldn't have attacked like that. Maybe I would have defended a little bit. He's kind of dangerously running out of pieces, as am I. So maybe I could have held him off that way too. So let's go back to real game, I guess.
Yep.
Give me a minute.
I mean, what we showed there for the newer to the game audience was, in that what seems like a clear recover situation, there's actually at least some option for Quad, which I'm no doubt he will go back and see and realize later, oh, I probably missed a shot there. So.
Okay, so let's see. I think we're at 25.
Yeah, so he recovers is the spot. Yep.
Okay, so then, from here, tempo-wise, I'm still ahead, right? So this was kind of, if when I'm looking at it right here, I count 5 for me. I count 5 for him, but it's my turn first. Okay, and I have to get sneaky with it. I have this ant right here, which is the game changer. Okay, this ant swoops in to pressure the victory. I'll show you quick. So just playing kind of straightforward and stupidly with that simple count. 1, 2, 3, here. Okay, that's the game changer. Okay, so now he has to do this, and then I just keep pressuring. I have a forced win.
Yeah, because he doesn't have enough defenders.
Correct. Okay, so that was the whole game plan. That's why he took probably 10,
12
15
minutes.
12 minutes to think. And I saw, can you reset it one more time, Randy?
Yep.
He came up with that good move of the ladybug there, and I had thought about that too, and I was kind of like saying crap in my head, because I thought maybe it wouldn't turn out so good. Let me just go to there. Okay, so I had anticipated that. The cool thing about that move for him is if I took the time to reposition this ant to right here, so he can't make that gate, then he just hops in this kill spot, and now he has stolen tempo back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that I had thought that through previously. So I continue to attack instead of straighten the pin. If I would have straightened the pin, I would have lost. Okay, so he makes the gate. I should have thought more right here. I think I had an easier path to victory. I place the hopper. Okay, I think I should have placed it right here. Can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
I think right here is easier because the move that he did not do, I'm not sure that it changes anything really. Actually, did he do it? Hold on, let me see. I kind of blacked out during the game, so I can't remember. Okay, so he pins the hopper. I think that was a mistake. Let me just show you what I thought that he was going to do and see if I can easily win. Maybe I can. Okay, I thought that he was going to place a hopper right here.
Yeah, we had discussed that.
Yeah, okay, so you see the obvious problem right there. Then he pins my hopper. So, here, then I would have pressured in right here. He would have stopped it. I would have pressured here. He goes there. And then I guess right here for victory.
It's
You
white
can pin
ant
that,
stop
yeah.
it.
Right.
Okay.
But then you free your hopper, the other hopper, or
Doesn't
the
matter.
ladybug. Yeah, works
either
as
way.
well.
Yeah, freeze one of
The
them.
hopper on the left could be freed as well.
Yeah.
There's a few ways here. So I was calculating that in my head, and then he pinned the hopper. I think he made his comment right there. Well done. Kind of conceding the game. It's always tricky when somebody does that because then you start smiling and then probably miss something, right? So I think that's what his plan is when he acknowledges defeat, moves before.
Well,
Little
congratulations, Joe.
Thank you.
So it's 3-0. Jewdoka leading Quodlibet. Game 4 will be later in the week. Watch for my announcement when it's going to be done. Hopefully we'll be broadcasting live again. So depending on what time of day it is, what time of the evening, hopefully we'll be able to have some of the same commentators on, even though we do have lives other than Hive, but we will be joining it.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all you all that are out there watching, and be watching for our next broadcast. Any final comments from any of our fellow commentators?
We appreciate you commentating as well. Pretty cool. So it's, we can look back at this in a year or whatever, and it's there for prosperity. So Thank you.
Yeah, I can say that because I'm on both sides. I just yesterday, for the first time, I saw my own game being commented, and at the same time I also commented on other games, and it's really cool. It feels very different if you see your own game being commented on, and I think it's a very nice addition for not only for beginners but also, of course, for the participants themselves. Just to have that and to relive, and but of course the main benefit is for the broader audience, the Hive community.
Agreed.
Well, congrats, Joe. Good luck in the next one. We would love, of course, to ask what your plan is as white, but we don't want to record that in advance of the.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no, my plan is to win.
Yeah, good idea. That's a good thinking. Yeah. Right on.
So we'll be signing off here shortly, everybody. Thank you again for watching. We truly appreciate the commentary by Joe after the fact. And don't forget, Joe is the author of the book Canon of Hive Groundwork. So, of course, that should be the second book that you buy to help your Hive playing. It would make a great gift this time of the year. 2 books to someone that you don't play against, because they'll be much better if they read both books. Is that right, Joe?
Correct.
And I'm sure I speak for Cody and Christian, who helped edit those books, but I will say, having not seen either of them in advance of each other or really learning about the game all that much, they're great complementary, because they've got very different approaches to the thinking about the game. So you can't go wrong with both.
And we're good competition for each other, so don't worry. We laugh and joke.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll be stopping the stream here. So this is Randy Ingersoll and my fellow commentators signing off. We appreciate you all.